Hi everyone, my name is Michael Osman and I'm the Head of People and Culture at Zapat Hire. We're glad that you could join us today and we're really excited to run this session in partnership with Flair HR. So the topics we're going to be covering today include how to engage candidates and top talent during a pandemic, thinking differently when candidates are also your customers, how to streamline and automate your experiences to build a fully remote operation, and how to implement an actionable plan to grow and enrich your remote team. So just to all of our audience, if you've got any questions as we go, please feel free to pop them over on the right side of your screen in the questions Q&A box, and we'll try to answer them as we go along. But if we can't get to them as we move through, I'll try to get to them all at the end of the session. And yeah, once again, just a big shout out to our job at a partner, Flair HR, and we look forward to continue working together and for their help getting us this out to our audience today. So let's get across to our guests. So I'm going to be facilitating the session today. And we have Monique Glatter from Campos Coffee and Edwina Mirams from Rockpool Dining Group. If we're starting with you, Monique, can you introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me today. I'm very excited to be here. I'm Monique and I am the People and Business Culture business partner at Campos Coffee. And I've come from a great background from being in agency world and moving in-house within more so the beauty industry, and now the wonderful world of coffee. I don't know about any of you, but coffee is definitely like a 3-time-a-day thing these days during COVID. And my kids actually say to me, I turn into mean mummy if I haven't had my coffee by about 8 o'clock. So they are like rushing me out the door to say, Mum, you need your coffee. Otherwise, it's a bad morning for everyone.
I'll relate to that. Thank you for that, Edwina.
Well, I love coffee also, but my name's Edwina, so I'm head of HR operations for Rockpool Dining Group. So we look after 80 plus venues across Australia and New Zealand, with venues within a premium casual and a fast casual brand. So I've been with Rockpool for about 18 months now. Love hospitality, and I've always worked within sort of hotels, hospitality. And prior to now, I was at a core hotel group working as a talent and culture executive at Sofitel Darling Harbour.
Very good, thank you for that. We're all very lucky to have you both, and let's jump straight into it. So I've cut the session into 4 themes. So we'll start with theme 1 on how to engage candidates and top talent during the pandemic. And Monique, we might start with you if that's okay, but I was hoping you could paint a bit of a picture for our audience on where your business is sitting from a recruitment perspective at the moment, and sort of how your hiring's been impacted and your plans have been changed.
Sure. Well, as all of you would know, 2020 definitely hasn't been the year that we all thought it would be. I don't know about you, I sat there at New Year's Eve and was like, 2020 is my year, this is going to be great. And come into March, things definitely took a turn, you know, globally and very much within our industry and for many industries. So it definitely hasn't been a normal year for any HR or people and culture team. And very much recruitment was placed on hold, you know, that beginning half of the year, just so we could really focus on our current team that we had in place, really trying to create some normality. You know, we were all kind of working from home from one day to the next. So it was really just trying to create that normality. So we've been really excited over the last few months to be able to bring back our team, which has been great. And we've been able to add additional new hires. So we're looking forward to what 2021 can bring. And, you know, I guess what everyone's calling the new normal of how we work. COVID.
Very good. Yeah, thank you for that. I think everyone that can be optimistic in terms of being able to recruit again is really enjoying that and what that can offer for people as well. But Edwina, talk to us from a Rockpool perspective.
Yeah, so I guess we've had a similar situation to Monique in terms of having a recruitment freeze. So we're on hold over March and April. Our biggest focus has been sort of retaining our current teams. We've now opened 45 out of 85 venues, which is really exciting, and we're really happy to start to have everyone back. We've really just been transferring people around, trying to get them as many hours as possible, upskill the teams and fill any gaps internally first. An example of that is our general manager from Fratelli Bridge Street. So at the moment, he's looking after our El Camino Rocks, which is a huge venue. And it's been really good for him to explore another brand. We've had a lot of staff come over from Fratelli to El Camino, and it's just good exposure, I guess, to experience a different team. In terms of recruitment, we have been fortunate enough to start advertising for roles in CBD, Sydney and Perth. Both really different labour markets, but we're definitely bringing in a lot of wait staff, hosts, runners, and we're opening up Rockhampton, opening up the Bavarian in Rockhampton in November. So we're sort of advertising for permanent roles there at the moment, and that we're looking at sort of 50 people plus, which would be really good for the local community there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think and I know we went through a similar period where we weren't recruiting, but it's, yeah, I think the positivity is contagious when you start to, be looking for talent and bringing new talent into the business and those opportunities and all that people. So, so Monique, back to you. So how are you reaching or getting in front of talent at the moment? And can you tell us about some different ways that you've tried to engage with candidates compared to pre-COVID?
Definitely. So virtual interviews and virtual inductions are totally a thing now. I think if you would have told me that at the end of 2019, I would have said that's not going to happen, but they are totally a thing. And I guess the likes of Microsoft Teams has been fantastic to be able to bring that to life and really help us with our inductions and just, I guess, communicating across our teams as well. But I think it's really been more about taking time to recruit, really looking at our recruitment processes, looking at, what we have set up in JobAdder, looking at our careers page, and really looking at how, I guess, we can really set up for the new year, because we haven't had a huge amount of recruitment, but anyone we are bringing on, I think it's been really important that it's the right hire and it's the fit, and that they know, they're entering in a really difficult time, to start a new job as well. So it's just ensuring that we are providing them the best kind of induction that we can with, given the restrictions in place and, the new ways of working.
Edwina?
Yeah, so I guess it's similar. We've been spending a lot of time sort of reevaluating and adapting our recruitment strategy to be a bit more flexible and engage with top talent in, I guess, what is now a new climate. So last year we opened 20 restaurants, so it was super fast paced, high volume, just go, sort of quality over quantity, I guess. And now we've sort of stopped and we've shifted our focus to retention and upskilling. But at the same time, trying to keep up to date with current trends and identifying any top talent. So we've sort of engaged with top talent a bit differently compared to pre-COVID in a number of ways. So we looked at the setup of JobAdder and how we had that configured and the type of workflows we had in place from sort of the application stage through to shortlisting, candidate notes, and also like how to decline candidates. So we sort of wanted to, I guess, position that so that we could better use the reporting tool, which we've started to utilize to identify hard to fill roles and locations and develop, I guess, the JobAdder platform into more of a talent management system. Whereas prior to that, we used it really a lot for just advertising and sending out bulk candidates. So by really streamlining, I guess, those processes, we've had a better sort of candidate management style, and we've been able to pipeline our candidates a bit easier. We've also had a bit of I guess, with our social networking, we've been showcasing our Rockpool legends. I don't know if you guys have seen on LinkedIn, just to start to showcase what career progression looks like with the business and create a bit more, I guess, awareness around what our culture looks like. So we've also put up an expression of interest roles, which is something new for us to sort of build up that candidate base. And we've been promoting a lot of the corporate social responsibility side of the business. So we've got a lot of things going with Hope Delivery, Feed the Front Line, and sort of just showcasing our culture as best we can, given that we haven't been actively recruiting. So I guess what we've learned really is to have these strong systems in place so that we can reduce admin time with recruitment and sort of better utilize our resources and automate our processes a bit better.
Yeah, cool. I can definitely relate to that. And as we start to scale here at JobAdder as well, especially around roles or similar roles, moving away from that, posting ads and filling to building that pipeline and, potentially tapping into multiple resources through that one drive and to get some efficiencies there as well. So I can definitely relate there.
Yeah, creating the one flow makes it a little bit easier, I think, for the candidate.
Definitely. So, but moving quickly on to moving on to theme 2. So thinking differently when candidates are also your customers. So obviously 2 strong, well-known brands, being Rockpool and Campos. So you'd get this a little bit, but Edwina, first, can you talk to our audience about the concept of candidates as customers and how this influences your approach to CX?
Yeah, absolutely. So brand awareness is really important to us. So we've got 16 brands across the business, and each brand has its own sort of culture, personality, which we try and foster through our recruitment and advertising. And studies show that there is a direct link between customer engagement and employee engagement. It gives us an opportunity to have customers trial our products and experience the culture. It also means that if we are hiring from our customer base, that they have a consistent sort of brand journey, I guess. It's been interesting because we opened the Bavarian in New Zealand last year, which was we had a pretty low brand awareness in Auckland. So it's been quite interesting now that we're getting candidates who really know us because of their dining experience. So they're more so than in Australia, where everyone knows what Rockpool Dining Group is. They're coming in and really learning more about the brand. So we definitely encourage our teams to accept resumes from customers, and during the interview process, we do sort of tailor our behavioural questions to test brand understanding and culture fit. However, regardless of the outcome, I guess at the end of the day, our business is about providing that top-end customer service and provide an amazing dining experience. So regardless of the outcome, we hope to provide a consistent quality of service.
Yeah, cool. Very good. And so from the Campos perspective, so yeah, customers as candidates, Monique.
Yeah, so I think that everyone knows the Campos Green Cup. We obviously are very known by the Green Cup, and anyone that drinks coffee will know of the Campos Green Cup. But it's really important for us that our candidates and people wanting to join our team know about our brand essence and our brand story, but also they drink, from a Campos cafe partner, and they know that they're part of a bigger community. And we are very much about, supporting our communities and our cafe partners as well. So for us, I think it's ensuring that anyone that touches the brand at any point, be it a candidate or a customer, has a great experience. And even if they're not maybe successful for the role, it's really important to know that they, still love their Campos coffee and they enjoy drinking it, and that they had a great experience, and they might have been able to try a new coffee. Maybe they weren't successful for the job, but, they said, everyone was lovely, and I got to try this amazing new filter coffee that I love. So it's really about that love mark and creating that amazing experience and that customer service at any point that they have with the brand.
Yeah, cool. Very good. And I suppose getting outside of Campos and Rockpool and JobAdder, outside of our employees, I was hoping, and starting with you, Edwina, if you've got any examples of any other organisations or sort of market leaders who are doing this really well at the moment?
Yeah, so I guess for me, I've always been keeping my eye on Atlasian. So they're an IT company, and they've got a huge LinkedIn presence, and they've always sort of been the leading people in HR and engagement practices. So during the COVID stage, they've been really good at promoting initiatives around, I guess, employee wellbeing, community support. They've had online masterclasses, lots of readings about productivity and team culture. So it's been really good to see, I guess, how they've taken their remote working to a new level. I know that they were mailing out induction welcome packs to new starters who are starting work for the first time, but from home. So I think it was really important for me to see the communication and transparency of those HR initiatives, and it's just a really good way of them to showcase their business culture and I guess attract talent at the same time. So yeah, Atlasian have been a very big motivator for me.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of that similar content as well. But Monique, have you got any examples outside of Campos?
Yeah, I mean, great example, Edwina. I think it's hard to, you know, compete with Atlassian. They're doing some fantastic stuff. But I think definitely the IT companies have had a bit of a leg up on some of us in terms of already being set up to work from home, working virtually. And I guess, to be honest, from a business perspective, a lot of the times their businesses haven't probably been hit as hard, where I think for me, it's been really important to look at companies that are doing it really tough, because it has been a really challenging time, you know, I guess financially for so many companies. And, you know, they don't maybe have the ability to kind of splash out on these amazing things that they'd like to do. So I've been really following OZHarvest, and they've been doing some really great things in terms of, you know, I guess they're really looking at their HR team going, we've had to be really creative at the moment. And whilst we come in with an HR hat on, a lot of HR teams are running trivia nights and cooking classes and yoga and doing all these things that are probably very much outside of sometimes the normal HR and people and culture specs. So I guess as an HR team, it's really thrown us to be creative and to really use the resources that we've got, and I guess be able to be present and connect with our teams.
Cool. I've got a question that's come through from Mark, and I'm happy to answer the first bit of it if you guys want to sing and sort of get some answers ready, but it's a really good question. He asks, how do you keep talent pool candidates engaged if you don't have any immediate vacancies for them? So I'm happy to talk a little bit from a job adder perspective. So overseeing the people and culture team, I work really closely with our talent business partner, who primarily handles all of our recruitment. And I suppose we're a medium-sized organisation where, apart from all of our messaging and keeping them engaged through genuine, interesting, relevant content online, and we use LinkedIn as our primary channel for that. Outside of that, the engagement, I suppose, comes a lot through the correspondence between Victoria, my talent business partner, and the candidates, and she's just really transparent and honest in terms of where we're at with the business and whether vacancies are going to come up. But it is a really good question. Have either of you got anything you could add to that?
Yeah, so I guess we've been using Job Adder a fair bit in terms of now sending out our vacancies to the candidate pool that we built during COVID. But we're also fortunate that Neil's been running Hope Delivery down at Rosetta. So we've required a lot of volunteers to go down there. We had a lot of candidates that have popped up that are looking for chef roles, and they sort of put their hand up to come in and volunteer. And, you know, it means they get to meet different teams across the business, and also, you know, get exposure, and we're sort of keeping them engaged and keeping contact with them. So Hope Delivery has definitely been a great thing for us, and we've hired a couple of apprentices out of that, and we had a cook start recently. So that's been really good for us to sort of keep in contact and give them a bit of exposure to our brand.
Very good. Monique, was there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, no, there's some great insights, Edwina. I think that's fantastic that you guys have been able to do that. I think for us, this is probably an area, a bit of a work in progress, and something that, you know, we'd like over the next few months to really build out that talent community and kind of get things set up and ready for the new year. So I think it probably hasn't been a key focus at the moment, just based on our current recruiting levels, but is definitely something that we want to really put a lot of focus into for the new year, and definitely build out some great people stories and really, you know, the why work for us, which has been a really great project and employer branding project that we've been working on.
And I know from a tech perspective, when we're looking at our engineering and product team, where in the past they would have tech catch-ups and things like that, and meetups that would be face-to-face. You could push your branding, you could talk about something relevant and engage some of your talent that way, where we need to think about different ways to do that. And hopefully we'll get to face-to-face for some meetups in the future. So really good question. Thanks, Mark. We will just a reminder to the rest of our audience, if you've got any questions, feel free to pop them over in the questions box just over on the right side of your screen. But in the meantime, we'll crack on to theme 3, which is how to streamline and automate your experiences to build a fully remote operation. So Monique, we'll start with you if that's okay. But so obviously the impact of COVID has pushed or allowed many of us time to reevaluate and refine our recruitment processes. So can you talk us through some of the changes that occurred within your business?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of, I guess, being remote, we had, a lot of our head office staff moved to be working remotely, but we also have our cafes as well as our manufacturing that was still on site. So we were really working in a few different areas and working in different ways. So a lot of our head office staff went from one night to the other working from home remotely, and that's been really quite seamless, which has been great in terms of a lot of our programs that we use have been cloud-based. So I guess as long as you had your laptop and you had your computer and you got your Wi-Fi, you were kind of ready to work anywhere, which was fantastic and made it easy that we could log into Job Adder, we could log into our payroll, and really be up and running without much disruption, which was great.
Awesome. Edwina, changes to add Rockpool?
Yeah, so we had our head office work remotely for a little while, and we used Microsoft Teams a lot, but most of us have been back in the office for a while. I guess for us, we've always recruited remotely, with HR and sort of our senior leadership team being based in Sydney. However, obviously now not being able to travel interstate has really shifted the way that our operational teams are hiring. So as I mentioned before, we've been really focusing on retention and relocating our current staff to different areas. So a lot of CBD Sydney people going up to Central Coast, a lot of Canberra people coming to Sydney when their venues weren't open yet. But in terms of external candidates, we're still running skills assessments in venue. The selection of candidates is done by the general manager and head chef at a venue level. So that's something that's really consistent with what we were doing before. With the opening of the Bavarian Rockhampton, we've got a really interesting opportunity because we can't travel up there and we don't have any venues nearby. So we've actually connected with Zapat Hire, and they've developed this awesome app which essentially replaces written resumes with short videos. So just 4 sort of 20-second videos, and it really gets to showcase the applicant's personality, I guess, and also cut out a bit of the admin time from the HR side for phone screening. So we'll be sort of replacing our traditional face-to-face interviews and our normal pre-opening group interviews with Zapat Hire, and we'll do that for all of our front of house roles. And it'll be interesting to see as well, because obviously linking back to a question you asked before, Michael, the concept of the candidate being the customer won't apply here. We haven't had a venue in Rockhampton before, so it'll be really good to use this platform, I guess, to meet the candidate virtually, but also showcase our culture to them as well through our video links. The other initiative that we're doing is we're participating in a virtual career and industry expo, which is hosted by Torrens University Australia. So they've got around 29,000 students attending, and essentially over a 2-hour period, they'll come in and register for your stall, I guess. So that's something that we haven't done before, and we're really excited to be a part of. And there's a lot of different industries participating, so it'd be great to sort of tap into some different talent. But I think, yeah, particularly during this time, we've really learned to just look outside the norm in terms of our recruitment methods and just be a bit more creative, and think of other ways that we can create brand awareness and just tap into different avenues of talent that maybe we hadn't considered before.
Yeah, cool. Some really good insights there. And I suppose, yeah, when you talk about going through that process in Rockhampton, I think about, you know, the unsuccessful candidates that are going through that process with you guys as well. You want them to be advocates for and customers in your new venue as well. So really, really important. You can see a direct link to how important that is to the business. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And when you're yourself or your teams are speaking with candidates at the moment, what are the biggest trends that you and they are hearing in terms of their needs or expectations at the moment?
So
Monique, sorry.
I have to apologise. My dog is losing it. He has decided that 1 o'clock is his time for lunch, being my new co-worker at home, and he's going nuts. So I have to rudely apologise and say I'm sorry.
I think it's fine at the moment. I think he's just distracting you.
Yeah, he is. I apologise. He's got this really bad habit of thinking it's 1 o'clock lunchtime and walking time. So I'm going to have to put in a warning to my co-worker. Edwina, I might hand it over to you for a minute and I'll be back.
Yeah, no worries. That's easy.
Do you need a question for Edwina?
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. So, yeah, I guess in terms of candidate trends, we've definitely seen a shift in the expectation for permanent employment. We've definitely had a lot more candidates sort of reaching out and being okay with casual employment if that's what we have to offer. We've seen a lot of ex-hospitality people put their hand up to return to the industry as well. So people that had previously maybe gone to do corporate roles, or lots of airline people as well that are now coming back into the industry. But I think for us, you know, initially we had a lot of employees working in different roles. Initially we had a lot of employees that weren't too open to working in different roles and that are now putting their hands up. So it's been really important for us to be able to cross-train people across brands, and also, I guess, have that flexibility to be able to do that. So we've got a lot of back of house guys working at the moment as barbacks, for example, or as runners, and the goal is just to really retain them and give them as many hours as possible. And it's been a really good opportunity for the venues as well to create a bit more of a cohesive culture, I guess.
Yeah, very good. And I think that shows even during COVID how their expectations and needs are evolving. But Monique, from your perspective, when talking with candidates, biggest trends that you're seeing and hearing?
Yeah, so I think as a working mum, I've always wanted to have the ability to work from home, and I think that has always been quite challenging. So I think that COVID has definitely been the silver lining, not only for mums, but for everyone to realise that there are ways to work flexibly, and whether you're looking after elderly parents, kids, a dog as I am today, who knows, everyone kind of has a life outside of work. And I think this has really brought this to life in terms of us, even doing these webinars from home, or having your kids on your lap when you're doing a webinar or a meeting. So I think it's definitely brought like the outside world that we have into everyone's world, and it's really shown us that we can work flexibly, and that the way we used to work is probably not going to be the same anymore. We're going to work very differently. So I think having a job and having a stable job has definitely been key trends that we have seen. I think just being able to come to work every day and have that stability, those first few months everyone was very worried about their own jobs and what was going to happen. So I think being able to have a job is definitely a real bonus, and really enjoying your job as well is really key. But I think it's really about working from home for certain jobs, if it's possible, is definitely going to stay as a long-term thing, which is great to see. And even just working more flexibly. So I know in our warehouse we've got morning and afternoon shifts, and we've really changed up the shifts in our warehouse and our roastery. So there's new initiatives and things that we've brought in from that perspective to ensure work-life balance, and to ensure that we can continue operating as well throughout this period.
Very good, thank you for that. And I've got a question here from Linda in Rockhampton. So this will be for you, Edwina, but I'll ask you that if that's all right, and then we'll jump into our fourth and final theme. So So Linda's in Rockhampton with Hastings Dairying, but wondered if you would consider as a business aligning with a local employer or agency to support your recruitment up there. And Linda mentions, yeah, construction at the old Sizzler site is creating a bit of a buzz around town.
Yeah, we've definitely seen quite a few articles coming out of Rockhampton, and we're really excited to open up the venue there. I have had quite a few agencies reach out to me, so Linda, you're welcome to contact me as well. My email address will be at the end of the webinar. We're definitely looking to source, all the roles locally, and we'll be using Zapat Hire to really, get to learn about what the local candidates are like.
Oh, very good. So moving on to our fourth and final theme. So this is how to implement an actionable plan to grow and enrich your remote team. So Edwina, can you talk to our audience about ways that they can continue to keep candidates who have been employed and they're now staff engaged whilst they're performing their roles remotely? So basically now they've started with the business, but we still need to keep them engaged.
Yeah, sure. So, during the last couple of months, we've been sending out a lot of all staff communication, mostly by email, and that includes a lot of regular updates from our CEO about where our business is and sort of highlights about different venues opening and things like that. We also tapped into an SMS website, and that allowed us to text, multiple employees at once, because a lot of our employees aren't real email savvy, so a lot of them aren't checking emails on a regular basis. So we thought that texting might be a better way of communicating with them. Flare HR has obviously been a huge tool for us, and it's really helped us to keep connected with the broader teams. It's been really valuable because we're able to send out bulk information requests, and we really use that to launch JobKeeper, keep them up to date with employee benefits. We did a huge return to work induction prior to opening venues. So that's been a really useful tool for us. With the Flare HR benefits page, that's been a very big sort of engagement piece for us. So we've added a lot of things that are relevant or that we thought would support people during COVID. So Torrens Straits University offered us free courses for our teams around leadership and management. We had cheap online gym classes. We had financial assistance resources for visa holders that weren't eligible for JobKeeper. And then we had things around our employee assistance program. So we created like a FAQ, I guess, to try and promote exactly what support is available. And I guess finally, we organised catch-ups with our two superannuation providers, so Intrust Super and Host Plus, and they came and sort of offered some virtual, superannuation health checks. As well as some financial wellbeing webinars, because we, identified that financial wellbeing is obviously really significant during COVID with venues being in lockdown. But I felt it was just really important for us to, I guess, try and communicate across as many different methods as possible, given that our team is so diverse and we wanted to have more than one sort of check-in point. And I think that worked really well for us during the time that everyone was not working.
Yeah, awesome. I think there's some really good ideas there. And Monique, did you want to touch on, from a Campos perspective, how you're keeping your staff engaged at the moment from a more general side of things?
Some great ideas there, Edwina. We've been doing a lot of very similar things. We've been using Slack to communicate a lot of our, messages from our CEO and our company updates around, working from home, or the current hours and days that are in place, and any policies or things that have changed. So Slack has been a really great tool. We've also really been using that tool to promote things like engagement around Mother's Day, Father's Day, Are You Okay Day. So really kind of showcasing our team and what's going on with them and their families. And we also implemented a newsletter called Bruiser News that we post on Slack, and we were running this kind of more weekly, I guess, through that real lockdown period, but we have moved it to fortnightly, because I'm now wearing the copywriter hat as well, so it's taking a bit of time to come up with some interesting content for our team. But we are doing some interviews with our team, really around what they were doing during COVID, how they're spending their weekends, you know, a little bit about their role. And then we put through company updates, things like Are You OK Day or events that are happening. So it's really just kind of a fortnightly touching base, really encouraging everyone to grab their favourite Campos coffee, grab their brews and news, and it's really kind of something that we're excited that we've been able to keep going throughout this period, and really use that to engage our teams in different ways as well. So we've had recipes from some of our teams in there, you know, virtual workouts, all of those sort of things.
Cool. Thank you both for that. And just as I suppose before we wrap up, I was hoping to, if you could please reiterate your biggest takeaway, a piece of advice for our audience today in relation to building a winning CX strategy. We might start with you, Edwina.
Yeah, sure. So I guess, yeah, in terms of, I guess, reflecting on my experiences, what I found really important is having an agile HR strategy. That's, you know, allows you to identify where you could adapt your HR processes to match the changing needs of the business and employees. We did spend a lot of time reconfiguring our systems to meet our new desired outcomes, and try to really not complicate the process. So I think that's made a huge difference for us, and just being able to get your systems right to use your resources effectively. And finally, just showcasing business culture. That's been a big focus, and using technology like Zapat Hire to attract new talent, and Flair HR to keep your teams engaged.
Well, Monique, key takeaway.
So key takeaway, I think I would just say communication, but it's really working out the best way to communicate with your teams and, you know, different people within your business. As you said, you know, some people aren't sat in front of a computer all day. So is it better by text message, or is it better by emails, or they can log into Slack and get the updates when they want? So I think communication from, you know, your leadership team as well is super important. You know, I know that we got, you know, phone calls to check in how we're going, and really just that reassurance that, you know, people come first, and that we're doing everything we can to kind of come out of this, you know, better and stronger, really.
Cool, very good. So I think that's a wrap for us today. I just want to thank all of our audience for joining us, and thank you both for coming on as guests and sharing some insights, your stories at Rockpool and Campos. Just all of our audience as well, Edwina and Monique have kindly offered to respond to any of the questions that we couldn't get to today, but you can also see on the slide that they've also put forward their personal emails, and they're happy to answer any questions directly as well. So yeah, once again, thanks for joining us. I hope you found it valuable and you got some takeaways, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks so much.